Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. What's going on, everybody? It's Monday, June 21st, and it's time for another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. What you know, Fruit Loop?
That you old and your hip is broke.
Yeah.
Not broke. Well, kind of broke.
Kind of broke, yeah. So I think I mentioned maybe on the last episode we did that I was having some hip problems, and it got really, really bad about a week ago. I had to go to the ER. Then it got really, really bad over the weekend, and I go back to the ER, and I cannot lift my leg when I'm laying down, and I cannot cross my left leg over my right leg when I'm sitting.
Yeah, you walking like you're 90.
Oh my gosh. So I go to the orthopedic doctor today, and he's doing you know how they manipulate your hip to see the range of motion?
Yeah, they kill you and then say, oh yeah, this is what.
I was literally in tears. And so he just stopped and said, I'm not going to cause you any more pain. And he said, we're going to get an MRI. But he said, essentially, let's just go ahead and prepare for a hip replacement.
Yeah.
I'm 43, and you know what he said? This made me feel old. He said, if you were 23, I would scope your hip and we would be good. But he said, you're 43, so this is replacement. So I don't know what's going on, but they do think that one of the main ligaments has essentially detached from the bone.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I don't know what's going on at your house.
Dude, I mean, I get over the pancreatitis, and literally 3 days later, I'm walking like a nana.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not super happy about all this, but it is what it is, and I guess it could be worse.
There you go. My aunt's having a knee replacement, so I'm going to tell her to buy one, get one.
Yeah, we could double up.
BOGO.
Yeah,
BOGO.
we could go to the rehab place together.
Yep, share a room.
So it's been a few days since we've done one, and we were saying on the live that it's going to be really random this summer when we do one, just because your schedule is crazy. My schedule is not going to be crazy, but with the theater, you're just nonstop busy.
Yeah, I got a lot going on.
A ton.
Yep.
I think this is the busiest I've ever seen you in 30 years.
Yeah. Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep.
But it's good because my girls are loving it, and you guys are doing a play you're excited about. So it's all good, but it does kind of mess up the Wednesday, Sunday thing. So you'll still get them, just might be weird days.
Yep.
So we're going to jump in. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Murdaugh case down in the Low Country of South Carolina. But first, we got some Josh Duggar updates.
Yep. So his attorneys have asked to delay his trial, which is set for July 6th. They're asking to postpone it until February of next year.
I knew that was coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They say they need time for their own experts to do a forensic examination of Josh's computer.
I mean, I'm sure the FBI made a huge mistake.
Oh, yeah. Those really weren't on there.
No. Yeah, because he was set for July 6th, which, you just said that. Sorry.
Yeah. That's
okay.
all right.
It's the pain meds, y'all.
There you go. But they also claim they're waiting on additional discovery after requesting it several times. Who's that sound like?
I don't mean to be rude, but
or prior to this, yeah.
But
yeah, exactly.
So they've also for Josh's defense team, they have added an independent computer forensic expert who has got to do their own examination of the devices in question. And, of course, that's time consuming. So I never thought this would go off July 6th, and I'm pretty sure they're going to grant this delay.
Oh, yeah.
So nothing will come out of that, and he gets to be a free man and be around his kids, and very little consequence for that. One thing that we are going to cover, and I haven't done a lot of research. God knows I'm going to have time now. I think I had mentioned a case about a guy who was sentenced to over 200 years for a crime he committed when he was 16, and he's in his 40s now. And I was thinking about this. You look at people like Josh Duggar who have done or has engaged in, and to me, I mean, it's just some of the worst stuff you can engage in as an adult, and he's out on bail. And then you get somebody who had a night where they made a couple of bad choices. Nobody was hurt, and 240-something years in jail. I was just thinking how crazy sometimes it is.
Yeah, the law and how it reads sometimes is just crazy. Like in our state, it's illegal to shoot a well from a moving vehicle.
I mean, well, there goes my weekend plans.
I know, right? That's literally a law on the books.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, sometimes that doesn't make sense whatsoever.
Yeah, and I watch the first 48 pretty much every night, and I mean, all of these suspects, every one of them, when they pull up their rap sheet, it's attempted murder, armed robbery, home invasion, carjacking, and they're free. I just went off in left field, but I'm just saying, I really am going to research this guy more. That their team reached out to us and wanted us to kind of tell a story online. But I was just thinking, sometimes it's just so odd how justice works.
Yeah.
You have people that have been convicted of second-degree murder that spend 10 years in jail, and then they go out and kill again, and then so you have people in there for nonviolent offenses for life.
Yeah, I know a guy who, and I know this person, he, long story short, shot a guy in the face and killed him.
Oh, wow.
They were playing Russian roulette, and he served like 5 years.
Yeah.
And he's out.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's just so consistent on the first 48.
Yeah.
When somebody's suspected of murder, oh, wow, he's got a rap sheet 10 pages long. Like, why is he still free? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump into the Murdaugh murders. And so let's talk a little bit about what SLED has done.
Yeah, so they've set up a 24-hour tip line. They've obtained a search warrant and searched Paul's apartment in Columbia. Remember, he was in school at USC this spring. They did not say what they were looking for or what they found.
Yeah. Now, we've been getting a lot of the news about this case from Island Packet, which is a low country news media outlet, and Fitz News. Both of those guys really have been getting exclusive information about this case. So somebody told Island Packet that a computer was taken out and that they were gathering fingerprints and DNA evidence from the apartment.
So a source also said the day after the murders, a property manager for the apartment complex called Columbia police to tell that they found an open door on Paul's unit.
That's a little suspicious.
It's a little suspicious.
Very much so.
Somebody looking for something?
I think so, but police said there was no signs of forced entry and nobody was inside the apartment when they checked. So you think, was it somebody who had a key or was the door left unlocked? I mean, people don't routinely leave their doors unlocked.
No.
So interesting. I'm curious if they maybe found some surveillance to see if anybody, those places have surveillance.
Oh, yeah.
He's a Murdaugh. He's not staying at no little rinky-dink apartment complex. He's probably staying, if he's not on campus, I'm sure he's in a very nice place. So, they have surveillance and all that. So South Carolina has a law that says the initial police reports must be made public within 14 days of any kind of a crime. And it should tell the details of the nature and substance of the incident. But they're not releasing anything.
Yeah.
And
what's up with that?
Well, I mean, I think it just points to the fact that maybe there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that seems to be the case with this family for a lot of years. So the Charleston Post and Courier, they've sued SLED, which is the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, and they've also sued Colleton County for not releasing public information about the murders. Their excuse is that the investigation's ongoing, but if the law says you got to release it within 14 days, I mean, I don't know how they're getting a pass on this.
Yeah. And why won't they release a 911 call?
I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
There's something really it screams of shenanigans to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
So we learned a little something about Paul while he was out on bond for the boat wreck that killed Mallory Beach.
Yeah, so he had minor brushes with the law in Charleston while out on bond. He got a speeding ticket in May of 2020 for going more than 15 miles per hour over the speed. I slurred that.
Let's do that again.
15 miles per hour over the speed limit, and also a boating violation for having an expired fire extinguisher on board earlier this year. That was like a $105 fine.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to remember, after he crashed the boat that killed Mallory, he was still able to drive and he was still able to boat. They did not revoke any of that.
Yeah.
The same day or the day after we talked about it in Charleston, a girl was driving drunk. Her friend got killed. She was arrested, cuffed, and everything, and could not drive. So it goes to show you how influence in that solicitor's office has benefited the Murdaugh family for a while.
Yeah, and in general, I think that's just awful when somebody can't afford certain things and they face charges that they don't get treated the same way, and they get different charges.
Right.
Like
it's true.
It shouldn't be that way at all. Everybody should be a level playing field when you're having all that, going through that.
I mean, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just not how it works.
Yeah.
So Mallory's family, through their attorney, whose name is Mark Tinsley, said police tried to influence the investigation into the deadly boat crash. So since the murders, they're starting to say things were done in that investigation that hindered it, or hindered the truth from kind of being known. Because if you remember, they were saying the night of the crash, they couldn't figure out who was driving the boat, whether it was Paul or his cousin. But you had somebody there, which was Mallory's boyfriend, who told authorities on scene he was super intoxicated and he wouldn't let anybody else drive.
Yeah.
So you see, it took 7 weeks for him to even be charged with this. So it's just, he's getting a break.
Yeah. And we also learned that his mugshot was taken in the hallway of the courthouse.
Yeah. Who does that?
Yeah, I know, right? Also, he was never handcuffed. We know even though he had a BUI with death, he was still allowed to drive a car and a boat.
Yeah.
And
he was also allowed to, being out on bail, he was allowed to move all over the entire state if he wanted to. Normally, you have to stay in the city or the county where you're facing your charges. But he was a college student and he was able to go back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out where we are.
The 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office is not answering questions from the media about Alex's role in their office, other than to say he was an authorized volunteer and was not paid for his work there.
Right. And remember, Alex is the dad.
Yeah.
So he's Paul's father and Maggie's husband. And his biography says he works there as a part-time prosecutor. And right now, a lot of people are calling for the solicitor to recuse himself because of the conflict of interest here. And his name is Duffy Stone. He won't say what role his office is playing in the murder investigation of Paul and Maggie. And but see, after the boat crash, he stepped down pretty much immediately because of his connections to the Murdaugh family and also other occupants of that boat. So you can see he's heavily rooted in this, I guess you would say, this class of people.
Yeah.
And then it came out that 2 of the officers that responded to the boat crash scene had personal ties to the Murdaugh family as well.
Yeah, it's just all.
Yeah, it's very
crazy.
predictable. You would just say, yeah, I mean, they stopped doing breathalyzers because Dad and Grandpa showed up. I mean, they're not going to do that if you or me are on the side of the road and our dad comes and says, stop doing that. They're going to say, you can move back there, or we'll handcuff you.
Yeah. I mean, you can delay it, but you still have to have it eventually.
Right. And like I said, too, before on a prior episode, a DUI lawyer will tell you, never refuse the breathalyzer. I can beat the reading, but I can't beat kind of the presumption of guilt if you don't take it.
Yeah.
So, So anyways, law enforcement sources haven't said what type of weapon was used, but insiders have said that it was a shotgun, and then Maggie was shot with an AR-15 type gun.
So Alex's brothers, John and Randy Murdaugh, were on Good Morning America last week. They said that Paul had received threats from strangers before the murders. They also said Alex wants this solved.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons they might have went on there is because the rumor mill is full right now in the whole state about these murders. And sources have told news outlets that Alex is under investigation. And I think that's natural. Anytime a wife dies or a husband dies, they're going to look at the spouse. There was some question about the alibi, whether or not he was actually out shooting on the property or if he was at his dying father's bedside. So I don't know, man. I think this case, I think we're going to have a lot of things come out about this family now that this can of worms has been opened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So a grand jury in South Carolina, through an order of the Attorney General, are investigating if there was obstruction of justice in the boat crash investigation.
Yeah.
That's big.
That's big because you're not only looking at the Murdaugh's role if they did do things that influence that investigation, you're going to be looking at investigators, police officers, anybody who investigated that. Man, they could end up in some trouble.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So talking about rumors.
And we normally don't do rumors on here, but these are all out there. This is, I read a lot about this case over the weekend, and I feel like at this point we can address them because it is on every major news site about what we're fixing to talk about. So we're going to make an exception here.
Yep. So as far as we know, the murder investigation isn't tied to the boating accident. Mallory's family and other passengers on the boat have voluntarily submitted their DNA to squash that speculation.
Yeah, and I think that's smart because obviously the first thought in everybody's mind was somebody's paying him back for this boating accident. My mind went there.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Somebody connected to Mallory. Yeah.
And so the other thing was the grandfather, he died 3 days after the murders. He was expected not to survive. He was terminally ill. So people had speculated whether or not something had happened to him that wasn't supposed to, but everybody seems to be on the same page that was just really bad timing.
Yeah.
I mean, not bad timing because you die. You can't help that. But it
just happened. He passed away at the wrong.
It looked really suspicious.
Looked bad. So there have been rumors that the family is connected to another death, Stephen Smith, which happened before the fatal boat crash. Paul and Buster were treated as possible persons of interest in that case, and the family was named over 40 times in investigation, but there's never been any suspects named.
Yeah, and regarding this right here, Fitz News had some great write-ups on this case that everybody seems to be whispering about. Stephen Smith was a young gay man. And so apparently the rumors down in the Low Country was that Buster, which is Paul's brother, and Stephen may have had a fling.
Uh-oh.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. There is definitely a Southern, I don't know if you call it aristocrats or just your really, really well-to-do people. And it seems like this was a rumor they did not want being made public.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's true or not, it's not my business. But so the interesting thing though is this guy ended up dead.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So they found his body on July 8th, 2015, and it was on a road kind of on the outskirts of town. And officially what they said was it was a hit and run, and that they thought maybe a semi truck had hit, like the mirror had hit him in the head when he was in the road.
Hold up.
I know.
That makes no sense. That's too high.
Yeah.
What was he? 8 foot tall?
I know, right? I mean, it was Slenderman out there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. And I think I have it down here, but I'll say it. There was nothing that they found. I mean, if you get hit by a side mirror, there was absolutely nothing found in the vicinity of where his body was that would indicate he had been hit. Nothing broke off. You maybe would see a broken mirror, or because with the injuries, and we're just about to talk about that, this wasn't a love tap. This kid's face was distorted because of the trauma.
Yeah. So his body was found with his face covered in blood. He had a 7-inch gaping hole in the right side of his forehead. His head was disfigured and his right shoulder was semi-dislocated. He also had cuts and bruises on his right hand. Overall, the rest of his body was not injured. His car was 3 miles away from where his body was. Yeah,
and a friend of his has spoke to the media and said this makes no sense. He would not be 3 miles away from his car. It was theorized maybe he ran out of gas, but I don't think that was ever proven. So just based on how he was found and where he was found, those close to him immediately thought it was fishy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yes.
Yep. The coroner said it was homicide, but no physical evidence was found.
Yeah, and like I said, you would think there would be something broken off kind of near his body.
Yeah, I mean, if you hit something like that, that mirror is going to break.
But you made a super good point, though. I mean, it's not like those are height level.
No, it's high up.
Yeah, it is high up. I mean, look at you. You should be an investigator.
Oh, what about that? Yeah, no. So South Carolina Highway Patrol Detective Todd Proctor said in 2015, I think it's a situation when you grow up and your family's kind of high profile and you get away with some things because of your family name. You become invincible in a way and you get a little liquor and you think you're untouchable.
Yeah, and he goes on to say the Murdaughs, as big and powerful and rich as everyone thinks they are, they're going to go on living their lives like nothing happened. So they can play that card like they care about everyone else. No, they don't. They care about protecting themselves. He did not hold back.
Yeah.
Because, well, we'll get to it. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. Oh, boy.
So Stephen's mom, Sandy, said when SLED contacted her after the murders, she thought maybe they were reopening his investigation, but they only called to see if her family was involved in the shootings. She said it was devastating and a slap in the face.
Well, I bet. I mean, she wants to find out what really happened to her son.
Yeah.
So I was reading Fitz News this morning, and they had an article where a document was posted on their website, and the same guy, Detective Proctor, disagreed with the findings of a hit and run. And so he went to talk to the pathologist who did the autopsy, and her name was Dr. Presnell. And he said she was very combative and rude when he suggested that the opinion of investigators was that this was not a hit and run. And so she accused him of lying when he said he had also talked to the coroner, and the coroner had initially ruled it a homicide.
Wow.
So he said when investigators didn't believe it was a hit and run, she said, well, it's your job to find out what hit Stephen. It's not my job.
Exactly.
And so they're saying, we don't think it was a hit and run. And you know, she's saying, well, it's your job to figure out what hit him. That's kind of rude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So he said he just really ended the conversation with her because he knew it was not going to be productive.
Yeah.
Another investigator also had a run-in with her about her findings in the autopsy as well.
Wow. So Stephen's cause of death is blunt force trauma from a vehicle, but the manner of death, such as suicide or homicide, is not answered. The coroner told Detective Proctor that he was not in agreement with the medical examiner's report.
So that's a lot. I mean, when you have a coroner and a medical examiner who typically work in tandem and agree, that difference of opinion is big, and it's big to me because of the situation surrounding the rumors of why maybe this guy would want to be would want to be killed.
Sure. So he had no traces of drugs or alcohol in his system at the time of his death. There's been accusations of cover-ups and evidence coming up missing during the investigation into Stephen's death.
Yeah.
Like a rape kit, fingernail clippings, and his clothing were missing.
That's insane.
That's fishy.
How can you lose 3 pieces of evidence?
You ain't losing it.
You ain't losing it. You're losing it, but you know you're losing
Somebody had to write down when they went in that area. That's what they do on NCIS.
Exactly.
You got to fill out the paperwork.
Did they do it on Kindergarten Cop too?
They didn't get that far.
Yeah. But like we said, too, there's accusations that things are being covered up as far as the boating accident. And we know that that investigation is still ongoing, even though Paul's dead. So it seems like they're investigating maybe whether there was some wrongdoing there.
My thing, right is right and wrong's wrong.
Exactly.
If you wrong, I don't care who you are. You got to pay the penalty for doing what you did.
I mean, especially when you're talking about a human life.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like, he punched him and he knocked a tooth out. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just, if this family's involved, it just seems really suspicious. Let's just say. I mean, you're talking about one of the most powerful families in South Carolina, and some average gay kid ends up dead because the rumor is your son had a thing with him. Yeah.
There's also another death, right?
Yeah. So I really haven't found a whole lot on this, but apparently a maid in the family back in 2018 died in their home after what they said was tripping and falling. That was pretty much all that was said about it. There was a wrongful death suit, and Alex did end up and pay her family $500,000.
Wow.
So you're looking at Stephen. Now you're looking at this maid, and it seems very odd that in these two deaths right there, very strange things have happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just, if somebody has a slip and a fall and they fall down the stairs or something, it's an accident. Why would you settle a wrongful death suit if it was an accident? I mean, maybe you have money and you want it to go away, but still, if you have no wrongdoing. And the thing that I really wonder is why they won't say whether or not there was surveillance on that property the day of the murders. You know there was.
Yeah, it has to be.
So this is all just something smells rotten.
Rotten in Denmark.
In Denmark. I was about to say in Denver.
Denmark.
Yeah.
I don't know why that saying is that, but
I don't know.
Maybe
either.
they had like rotten, something was rottening. I don't know.
I don't know.
Food. Somebody will know and reach out and tell us.
Yes, everybody's so good about that.
Because I'm not Googling.
Yeah. So so that's all we have for this. Just a reminder, we do have merchandise available now. You can go to prettyliesandalibis.com.
It's pretty high quality shirts. I'm impressed.
I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah, well, I looked at yours. I was like, dang.
It is nice stuff.
Yeah.
And I've ordered my little great niece a little onesie. We're going to have her model it. My son Mason says, I'll model the dude shirts. So I guess we'll get the family, the whole family in on modeling the stuff. And what else? We've got some more stuff coming from listeners. They've told us. So that's exciting in the P.O. box. It's kind of like Christmas going in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, pretty cool.
We have some stickers that we just got a new shipment of. So if you want a free sticker, no cost, you can inbox us on any of our social media platforms or send us an email at prettyliesandalibis@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you want to make a donation on that, you can go to our PayPal account, right?
Yeah, it's prettyliesandalibis@gmail.com is the PayPal, and we certainly aren't asking, but we've had people ask, so that's the ways you can contribute if you wish. And so I think, let's see, next week is Chad's scheduling conference. I believe the 26th. I'm not 100% sure on that date.
Yeah.
We just had a hearing in the Wagner case. The older brother, is it George IV, was just in court, but we were getting ready for this. I didn't really hear what was said. It seems like they're going to continue it. They did talk about some discovery. The defense was talking about some discovery they have not received. I just don't see that they have a leg to stand on since Jake has ratted everybody out. But it seems like they were wanting some kind of evaluations from Jake, like mental evaluations.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to kind of go the route of he's just out of his mind.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy stuff.
Everybody goes that route these days.
And we've also read that Lori is at the mental hospital. I believe it's in Boise or near Boise, kind of around that area. We don't know if she's inpatient, or I would assume she's inpatient with this, but so nothing really going on with that right now. Colby put a really nice post up about Charles yesterday for Father's Day.
Yeah, I saw it. It was good.
Yeah, it was really, really sweet. But other than that, things have been quiet. And so we'll keep an eye on everything. If we hear anything, we may hop on for a sweet tea session, but I think we'll probably have another episode out maybe by Sunday.
Yep, we'll see how the schedule goes.
Yes, it's going to be crazy,
Craziness.
and we'll just fit it in when we can. And this week we're hoping to maybe try that first video where we try to prepare food like the prisoners do.
Yep.
So we'll see what comes around. And until then, I hope you guys have a good week.
Good. I don't know. Good. I don't even know. What do you say when you close? Good. Goodbye sounds weird.
I mean, yeah.
I want to do
just
like the Carol Burnett thing with a little,
Oh.
where she comes in with a cleaning lady, you know?
Oh, yeah. And she always tugged her ear. And that was for her
Exactly.
mother, right?
Yeah,
I used to
yeah.
love the Carol Burnett show.
Oh, I got it on DVD.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I might need to borrow
I like
it.
the Tarzan yell. Yeah. Yep. All
Oh,
right.
yeah. All right. Well, we will see you soon. How about that?
That'll be good.
All right.
Hello, Saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.